Coming up, the battle over Arizona's strict immigration crackdown. It's now headed to court, and protesters from all over the country want the state boycotted. Singer Linda Ronstadt has been very vocal against the law. We're going to talk with her coming up next. Well, the first legal challenges against Arizona's controversial new immigration law were filed today, including a suit by a Tucson police officer who says it will lead to racial profiling. The suits come on the heels of calls for an economic boycott of the state. Major League Baseball is even being asked to move next year's All-Star game out of Phoenix. Joining us now to talk more about this, singer Linda Ronstadt, who has been helping to lead protests against the Arizona law. Also, former Colorado Republican Congressman Tom Tancredo. He's calling for similar immigration crackdown in Colorado. Linda, let's start with you. You grew up in a Mexican-American family in Tucson, Arizona. Why was it important for you to be out there protesting this law today?
Because I feel that Governor Jan Brewer is not giving Arizona proper leadership right now. I don't think she has the experience, and I think she should be removed. She's putting Arizona in a situation that's going to make it liable to boycotts and a lot of public criticism, and it's justified. People think, people think that undocumented immigrants are exploiting the United States economy. They're wrong. They pay way more into the economy than they take out in social services. They pay sales taxes, they pay property taxes and income taxes, and they put in $7 billion a year into Social Security, which they won't draw out. They can't draw out because they're not citizens. So they're actually swelling the coffers for the rest of us. Right. And they're not criminals. No human being is an illegal person. They're undocumented migrants. They've been forced up here from positions of incredible poverty. And these are people who have been able to come over, overcome great obstacles. They just want a job and a decent way of life and a better life for their families.
Tom Tancredo,
so they're not committing crimes.
Right. Tom Tancredo, what do you say to that argument?
Well, it's full of holes. First of all, she talks about, Linda talks about the governor of the state acting almost unilaterally, it sounded like. She's doing this thing to Arizona, and it's going to be so bad for Arizona and Arizonans. When 70% of the people in Arizona support the law, it's not the governor who's done this, it's the people of the state of Arizona, because of course they are dealing with an issue that the federal government has refused to deal with for so long. And when you're on the front line of the problem that has been created by the federal government with regard to illegal immigration, yeah, you will take measures that sometimes seem extreme, but this isn't. Yeah. This is simply upholding the law. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not un-American, it's not anti-Hispanic, it is simply a matter of upholding the law that has been violated to the point where now this state has to step in.
Tom, let me just jump in here with some aspects of the actual law and talk about the criticism of it. Critics are worried that this new law gives police to go the right to go hunting, or license at least to go hunting for illegal immigrants. Here's what it says. It says, quote, "It requires a reasonable attempt to be made to determine the immigration status of a person during any legitimate contact if reasonable suspicion exists that the person
what does reasonable suspicion mean?
That's the question. What is reasonable suspicion, Tom?
The sheriff of Pima County here in Tucson is asking that question.
I'll be happy to answer if anybody wants to.
Go ahead.
Okay, number one, it means when you come into contact with someone who is here illegally and a legitimate contact with a police officer, and you cannot show your identification, you cannot show anything that proves that you are a legal resident, that's the beginning. But you left out an important part of the bill, which is right here. And if you want to read it, if you read the whole bill, it's important for you to point out things like this. Stipulates that the law enforcement official or agency cannot solely consider race, color, or national origin when implementing these provisions. Goes on, stipulates that these provisions are to be implemented consistent with federal immigration law, protecting the civil rights of all persons, respecting the privileges and immunities of U.S. citizenship. Why didn't you read that?
Actually, well, I was just about to get to that, Tom.
Okay.
That was my next graphic that I was going to put up. But do you trust, Linda Ronstadt, that there are adequate protections there? And here's where it says. It says the Attorney General or county attorney should not investigate complaints that are based solely on race, color, or national origin. Do you think that those are enough safeguards?
Well,
they are not enough safeguards.
I'll tell you what. Well,
no, actually, Tom,
who are you asking?
Can we let?
I think he asked me.
Linda, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I come from a law enforcement. Okay, yeah. Be sorry and butt out.
Go ahead.
I come from a law enforcement family here in Tucson. My brother was chief of police for years. I do not speak for him. My brother Peter Ronstadt was chief of police here in Tucson for years. And here's something that I learned from him: in a democracy, the police do not protect us by brute force. They need the trust, the cooperation, and the respect of the community. The Pima County Sheriff Clarence Dubnik has said that this law is just racist and stupid. He has said it is disgusting and unnecessary. He is refusing to try to implement it. What does a reasonable suspicion mean, he wants to know? Does it mean it's somebody's accent? They're not arresting people that speak with a Canadian accent. Does it mean it's the kind of shoes you wear? If I went to Finland and I thought that the police were going to pull me over and hassle me and to see if I had my passport when I just went out in the morning to get some breakfast, I wouldn't want to go to that country. It's not the American way.
One quick response, if we could, Tom. Does this law guarantee that people won't play fast and loose with the regulations?
You say these sort of things and then as if they're absolutely sure that this is what's going to occur. There's another thing about our democracy that's very important that maybe somebody should have taught you, and that's the Constitution. Hey, listen, just a second.
This is unconstitutional. This law is unconstitutional.
Well, then don't worry about
Immigration
it. If it's unconstitutional, it will be declared unconstitutional. You don't have to worry about it. Leave that to the court.
All right. Well,
I will worry about it. I'm a citizen of Arizona.
Worry about it all you want to, but it's up to the court, not you, to determine it.
All right. Well, it is in the courts, and we'll see where it goes. Linda Ronstadt, Tom Tancredo, spirited debate tonight. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Si se puede.
You bet.
All right. There you are.